Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how I manage my money and all of my finances. Now, in no way am I giving you financial advice. I am just showing and explaining to you exactly how I manage all of my income, my savings, and all of my sinking funds. Do with the information what you wish, but just know that this works well for me, so it may not necessarily work for you. So being able to manage your money effectively will help to eliminate or at least reduce some financial stress in your life. I choose to manage my money often because for me, being able and being in charge of my finances is something that I find extremely empowering. And if you are not the person that manages your finances in your home, I would highly encourage you and your spouse or whoever you are living with to do it together, because if something was to happen, you really want to be able to understand your financial position and know exactly what you can afford and where your money is going. So first, let's get into how many bank accounts do I have? Okay, I have a fair few bank accounts, but I actually bank with 3 different banks. Each bank I use for a different purpose. The first one is where all of my income comes into from YouTube and from teaching. It is also where all of my mortgage repayments come out of. So that is my main bank because all of the money that I earn goes into that account. I also have my larger savings accounts with them, such as my emergency fund and my holiday or just my everyday savings account. So the first one is my big and major one. The next one that I have is a joint bank account with my partner Lewis. He and I put the same amount in every fortnight or every month, and that money goes towards things like groceries, like food ordering, subscriptions like HelloFresh and Dinnerly. It's also where we pay for our electric, water, and gas bill, including internet too. The third bank that I actually use Up, which I do have a referral link for them. By no means you do not have to use it, but I will leave the link below if you would like, as well as all the information. I use them for my petrol money, my splurge, and all of my sinking funds. Now, I really like UpBank because you can have multiple savers under the one bank account. So you don't need to have to apply and open a bank account every single time you want to save for something. They allow you to have multiple savers under the one bank account number, and you can put like little emojis, you can add different goals, and it'll show your progression every time that you include money into that fund. So yeah, I do have 3 banks that I choose to keep my money all nice and safe, but you don't have to do this. I just find that having each bank have a particular purpose really helps to define where my money is going. So with my first one, I know that that is where all of my income is going to go to, where all of my savings is, and my mortgage repayments. I know that Up is what I use for my splurge and my sinking funds only. So I'm not allowed to take out any other money from that bank account or add anything else to it. So I like to make sure that my bank accounts have their own purpose and that I'm very well aware of that purpose. Same with the joint fund. So anything that I do with the joint, bank account, I don't do unless I ask Lewis, because it is a joint account and I know that the purpose of that bank account is so then Lewis and I can pay for food together. It just helps me to keep in control, and so then I know that that money is going towards something that is going to benefit me either throughout the year or later in life. So you might be wondering, how do I effectively budget for all of my bills and my expenses throughout the year? So if you have seen my budget with me's before, you would have seen that I have many sinking funds. In fact, I actually have 9. 7 of those are for bills that happen throughout the year or events that happen throughout the year. And how do I actually determine how much goes into each of those savers? So the first thing that I want to point out is that every saver has a different amount because every bill is a different amount. So if you're wanting to build up sinking funds or start saving for bills that you know are going to be reoccurring and that happen either like monthly, annually, bi-weekly, whatever it is, then you need to understand that not every single saver has to have the same amount. the saver amount has to match the actual bill amount. I'm hoping that makes sense, but I'll explain in a minute. First of all, what I want you to do is find your bills, and I want you to round to either the nearest 50 or to the nearest $100 amount. This I find really works because it creates a bit of a buffer for when that bill arrives, because as we know, inflation happens every single year, like 2 to 3%, and sometimes it's even more. So if you have a bill, let's say for health insurance, we all know that health insurance gets increased every single year in April, and that can be between like $10 to $100 depending on the type of policy that you have. If you round your saver up from your previous bill, you're going to have more wiggle room within your budget and your saver. Next thing I want you to do, and the next thing that I do, is to determine how long you have to save for that bill or that expense. So for example, I'm just going to use health insurance as an example because it's easier. If you start this now in January and your health insurance is due in June, which is 6 months from now, you need to determine how much either every fortnight, every month, or every pay you have to have in order to build up the money for that saver. So say for example, my health insurance, I'm going to use real digits. My health insurance last year was $1,244.87, and I rounded that up to $1,300. Now, if I was to do that now, so if I needed to save from now until June, that means that through 13 pays, I need to be able to allocate 13 times the amount in order to save the $1,300. So for example, I'm going to put into my calculator, because I'm not a genius, 1,300 divided by 13, because that's how many fortnights there are up until June. That means that every single, actually I totally didn't even need a calculator for that. That means that every single pay or fortnight I need to transfer $100 over into my health insurance sinking funds. Let's say that you needed to save up for your car registration, which is, let's say, $870. You're going to round that 870 up to 900 to make it a nice even number. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get that $900 and divide it by however many pays you get throughout the year. So let's say that you get paid monthly. That would be roughly 12 pays. So 900 divided by 12 gives you 75, which means that you need to put $75 each month into a saver. So then in 12 months time, you will have $900 to pay for your bill. So what I do is I find my bill amount. I then round that bill amount up to either the nearest 50 or to the nearest $100. I then determine how long I have to save up for that bill, whether it be 2 months, whether it be 6 months, whether it be 12 months, or if it's something that's happening way in the future, 24 months, so for 2 years. That's, I find, a much easier way than trying to transfer large amounts of money into savers, because you don't want to see, you know, $400 in one account and then $20 in another and then $500 in another and then $15 in another. You're more often than not most likely going to take money out of the funds that have the larger amount of money and try and top up all the other ones. So I try and do the spread so then it matches each saver, because then you know that within a certain amount of time, you will actually achieve that bill or expense goal. It's a great way to do for Christmas. So Christmas ended only a couple of weeks ago, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many fortnights I have till Christmas to determine how much money I need to actually save. So we have roughly around 24 bi-weekly or fortnights until we get close to Christmas, which means that if for my Christmas fund, I'm going to put $650 as my goal, divide that by, what did I say, 24. That means that I need to transfer every single fortnight up until Christmas, $27. And then once Christmas passes, you can refigure out your goals. These can change every single year. The thing that is really important with managing your money is being consistent. So you have to consistently keep track and understand where all of your money is going. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways on how I can save for my health insurance bill in this coming year. So the bill that I have is $1,244.87. Like I said before, I'm going to round that up to $1,300, just make it a nice even 100 number. Then I'm going to show you 3 ways to divide that number. So the first one is by fortnight, so by 26 pays. So 1,300 divided by 26, I would need to put $50 every single fortnight away into that saver in order to reach the 1,300. Next one is 12 pays. So if I get paid monthly, this is how much I would need to put away into my saver in order to reach the 1,300. That is $108.33, or just round it up to 110. Now, let's say that I forgot about my health insurance and the bill's coming up and I only have 4 pays to save in order to actually be able to pay for that bill. So if I do 1,300 divided by 4, that means that in those 4 pays, I need to put $325 each time I get paid to reach the $1,300. This is why it's really important to get started as early as you possibly can, because the earlier you start, the smaller the amounts are going to be that you need to put into your saver accounts, and the less intimidating it is. Again, this is just how I do it. You can do it however you like. If you do have any questions about how I manage my funds even more, or if you have any other particular questions that I haven't covered, please make sure that you do leave them in the comments below, and also make sure that you do give this video a big thumbs up as well. Your fixed and variable expenses are something that may not necessarily change too much every single time. So with that, I don't worry too much about managing that side of things, because I usually know how much is going out every single like fortnight, month, week, whatever it is. The thing that I really focus on is my sinking funds first and savings second. The reason for this is that I know these bills are going to come up at some point throughout the year, and I would much rather have the money in those sinking funds there once that bill arrives than have to worry too much about savings. So I calculate all of my sinking funds total first, which is around $300 and something for all of my 9 savers, and then whatever is left over after I have taken into account my fixed and variable expenses, the rest goes into savings. So I know that people say, like, put your savings away first. I actually don't do that. I do sinking funds first and savings second. However you manage your finances is completely up to you. It is just really important that you take your time and try and make it a little bit fun too, because finances and money can be really quite dry. So maybe do it with a glass of wine, do it with your partner, get together with your friends if you're really comfortable sharing, your income or your earnings with them. Find a way so then it's not so like, blech. Find it so then it's actually interesting and something that you want to do. Because I can tell you, the motivation really does start once you actually begin and you start to see progress. I don't know why I'm like flicking my pen at you. Sorry, I can't like not have anything in my hands. I always have to like fidget. So yeah, everything will start to build up, and you will start to see progress over the next couple of weeks or the months, or however you decide to do it. And it is really motivating, and I love it, and I wouldn't go back to doing it any other way, because now when bills come up, I'm so less stressed. Okay guys, that is it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy it. Sorry if I went on a little bit of a rant or a bit like blah blah in some of it. I do apologize. Please make sure that you, again, do click that subscribe button, because I would love to have you a part of the family, and I will see you in a video sometime in the very near future.